Dracarys.
Next question, another patron. This is from Richard Martin.
Appreciate it, Richard.
It says, Chris, another nagging question from me. Viserys and Danny.
Aren't they all?
This is Viserys Targaryen and Daenerys Stormborn. This sort of insinuates that Danny wasn't born at Dragonstone and not Targaryen. Speculation going around that she may have been born at Starfall. She was sent to Dragonstone and is the bastard child of Ned Stark and Ashara Dane. The house with the red door and a lemon tree outside her window. Ned made the statement to Varys that he dishonored his name and dishonored Cat. If not Jon Snow, then who?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well established where Danny was born. The problem is with all these theories about Starfall, Ashara Dane, and all that. There's definitely something to it. I will say that I do think Ned and Ashara were in love.
Okay.
Before he was basically forced to marry Catelyn when Brandon died.
Yep.
So I do think that's there for sure. But I don't think that Danny's the offspring of some relationship, or Jon for that matter, because I know that's still coming up some. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make sense thematically for Jon not to be in the Tower of Joy, Ice and Fire, the whole thing. But I'm going to do a video. I've been looking into this for the last couple of weeks a little more, because this is something I was interested in way back when I started, Game of Thrones stuff on YouTube.
Right.
Is this damn lemon tree.
I know.
Because we are reminded throughout the books, I can think of an Arya chapter right now specifically about lemons being tied to Dorne.
Okay.
I mean, there's something about, Danny remembers this lemon tree and, out front of this, big house with the red door.
Yes.
That she thinks is in Bravos. She says it's in Bravos. And so something is different about her past, for sure. I have no doubt about that. Something didn't go down exactly the way she remembers it. But the problem is, with all these theories about, she could have spent time in Dorne. Right. She could have been a Starfall. All the various theories about Danny is Viserys. Because Viserys was old enough at that time not to, he has to be lying to her, in other words. But he's telling her all the stories and what happened before she could remember, before she started maintaining memories. So the problem is he's got to be lying if her backstory is different from what we think.
And does it not make you try to start eliminating regions where lemon trees might not grow?
Yeah,
and
it's basically anywhere in any kind of northern climate you can't support it unless they're in perhaps a greenhouse, and they do have greenhouses.
I'll be damned.
Winterfell in the show doesn't show them, but they mention their greenhouses there. Perhaps at the Sea Lord's Palace in Bravos. That's the most basic explanation for the lemon tree. Okay. Is that when she grew up in Bravos, she remembers the house with the red door and a lemon tree out front, but she could be remembering the Sea Lord's, palace. But that's a palace. It's not a house.
Yeah, a kid would.
But running through the grass barefoot. Yeah. Running. That's a big thing too. That's not. It's not going to happen in Bravos unless it's in some kind of big, terrarium or greenhouse type setting where there could be grass and tropical trees and plants. That's the most basic explanation, and some people believe it's as simple as that.
Okay.
I'm not so sure. I think there was something else going on with her past, but I also think that's part of a little red herring to throw us off RLJ as well.
Would you help explain this last sentence, basically, the second to last sentence said, Ned made the statement to Varys that he dishonored his name and dishonored Cat. What does that have to do with any of this?
I think he's alluding there to dishonored as in, had an affair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. To cover his tracks. I do think that he was in love with Ashara Dane, but that was before Catelyn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he does swear he dishonored her in front of gods and men.
I'll be damned. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. It all ties again to RLJ, and I did a video that really put me on the map on YouTube, the whole RLD thing, how I don't think it's possible based off timelines. They're very sloppy. And honestly, George R. R. Martin has made mistakes, which he's admitted, because he couldn't keep up when this thing grew so huge.
I could see that easily.
And so he started getting help with that with Elio and Linda from Westeros.org and stuff like that. So
very cool.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there, though. And I'm going to I've been digging into this a little bit, and I don't know, it's work now. It's work. Yeah. So I'm kind of digging in to see if I can find anything about clues as to her past, because I do think it is established she was born on Dragonstone during this storm. Her mother died during childbirth, which is a common thing with Jon and Tyrion. But and the name Stormborn is just not given upon somebody who wasn't actually there. So I think she was born there, but the question is, before she was 5, 6, 7 and shipped off to Essos, whatever it was, did she spend some time in Dorne? It has something to do with Dorne Martell and the Martell storyline, which is the whole thing in the books they cut out in the show because they just killed everybody. So it may be tied in with Doran's master plan if you believe there is a big Martell master plan for a Targaryen restoration.
What do you think?
I think it's possible. I think there's hints for it and there's stuff against it. Is Doran Martell this big mastermind that's got all this going on? That's a lot's got to be just fit just right and happen just right for all this to go down, or is he just full of shit?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Honestly. So, and it makes me worry about it as far as the books go because they killed him off in the show so quick and easy.
I see us coming back to this lemon tree thing
Yes.
before this is over.
We will.
I see it.